diamonds in the rough. NFL Draft Diamonds. Time to shine.
Hi, my name is Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds, and today I have with me Shane Simpson, who's a running back out of Virginia, formerly out of Towson. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Nice to get a chance to talk to you. You were definitely one of my favorite small school athletes until you decided to, move on, get yourself, some better exposure and go out to Virginia. But why don't you go ahead, man? Tell the viewers just a little bit about your overall history. I mean, take us back to maybe where you're from and, bring us up to speed.
Yeah. So obviously my name is Shane. I'm from Eastern Pennsylvania, like 45 minutes outside of Philadelphia. Then coming out of high school, I went to Eastern High School in the area. Was all state there, and then ultimately I chose to go to Towson University in Baltimore. Play in the CAA conference for 5 years, which I ended up doing really well at the CAA, well, in that division. And then obviously with the whole COVID situation, me tearing my knee in 2019, I got an extra year to come back for my 6th year, but the CAA canceled the season, and ultimately I had to think about, did I want to bet on myself with my resume and just train for the draft, or don't leave any scouts or GMs doubt it if I'm healthy or not. And so I decided to ultimately go play at a Power 5 school, and that's when I chose Virginia.
Great. I mean, like you said, really in the CAA, I mean, you're really one of the better, running backs there. I mean, in all of the FCS, really. You ended up 3-time All CAA first team, which is awesome. In 2018, you were named an FCS All American. And even going back to that rookie season, I mean, you were Rookie of the Year for your conference, and even made the Jerry Rice Award, finalist list. I mean, definitely had a lot going for you. And even leading up to this season, you were on the Senior Bowl watch list. I mean, Jim Nagy had you up there. I mean, everybody was, watching you, wanting to see like what you were going to do as you, moved on to that Power 5 level. I mean, how did you get to Virginia? I mean, obviously you had to put your name in the transfer portal, but I mean, were there any other possibilities at the time, or was it always going to be Virginia?
Now there was definitely other possibilities. I had some other offers from in the ACC conference as well. So I had like Virginia, I had Pitt looking at me, Duke, Florida State. I think that's probably it from the ACC. Then I had from the Big Ten was Penn State and Northwestern. Big 12 was Texas, and then I had Western Kentucky, and then in the SEC was like Mississippi State. But ultimately it came down to Virginia and Texas, and then I ultimately decided to go to Virginia, and I'm thankful that I did that.
Yeah, I mean, Virginia is just a tad closer to home. I mean, maybe you could have chosen other, places, but I mean, it's still in the same time zone at the very least.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, I mean, you want to, have your family, kind of watch you out there when you're playing too. So, Shane, what's your current height and weight right now? What are you listed at?
5'9", 200 pounds.
So 5'9", 200 pounds. I mean, that's okay. I mean, there are a lot of running backs that come in all different shapes and sizes. What do you believe is like your best attribute as a player, and how that might actually translate to the next level?
I probably have to say my best attribute is my versatility. I don't always say, like I always tell teams or scouts, whoever asks me, what's my position gonna be at the next level? I'm just like, I'm a football player, because I can play running back. I can catch out the backfield. You can motion me out on the slot. You can put me in the slot, run routes there, feel really fairly comfortable. And then I add value to special teams with kick return and punt return. So, and I know a lot of players in this draft aren't as versatile as I am. So I think that's my best marketing tool into the league.
Yeah, I mean, going back to 2018, which is really your, phenomenal, year in the at the FCS level. I mean, you had over 2,000 all-purpose yards. I mean, and we're talking not only you rushing the ball, but being an excellent receiver, and like you said, I mean, being able to go out there and contribute on special teams too. So, a lot of things that you can offer to a program. Have you thought about perhaps like a comparison to a guy that's like in the league right now, like what people would kind of sort of see in you?
Um, I can probably say like Tariq Cohen, um, like we mentioned before, Chris Thompson when you played for Washington, Shane Vereen, uh, then like versatility like Alvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey, because they do everything for their teams.
Yeah, I mean, the name that comes to mind for me, again, because I'm a Washington fan, is Chris Thompson. Because I mean, a few years back, I mean, he was doing excellent for us. I mean, he was one of those guys that at times he was our number one receiver. I mean, he was getting tons of looks there from Kirk Cousins at the time, and having like 100-yard receiving games or 100-yard rushing games. I mean, they used him all over the place. I mean, so I mean, for a guy like you, I mean, like you said, I mean, you can come in, maybe as a third down back, used as a receiver, or really just be using a guy like yourself and who's got some excellent speed. I mean, even going back a little bit, I mean, you had an excellent track and field record in high school. So I mean, your speed is something that should be obvious to scouts. But I mean, a guy that can use his speed and just kind of, you know, just be dynamic all over that offense in so many different ways. Um, so Shane, after this season, after this past season in 2020, I mean, you had the opportunity to go out to the College Gridiron Showcase in Texas. Um, Tell us just a little bit about that experience and any story you have from that you want to share.
Yeah, going to the College Gridiron Showcase. One, it was a blessing to just be there. Obviously, in the midst of a pandemic, that happened to a lot of people from around the country, all in one area, from scouts to players, just making sure it was ran safely. Got there, well ran event. Had over 120 scouts, I want to say, there. So definitely a lot of exposure, especially scouts being able to see us in person, talk to us in person, get to know us. And so we had like meetings with the scouts as well. So that went well for me. And then ultimately, when we got on the field, was my biggest interview of the week, and just let them know how I move, because everything's different from tape. You gotta see everybody in person to really see what a guy's about. And I think I did a really good job of doing what I had to do at College Gridiron Showcase, from doing the bag drills, doing cutting drills, showing that my knee's healthy, there's no lingering injuries, and then obviously catching the ball as well. So I think overall my interview went well.
So, I mean, is that maybe the most, important thing? I mean, is that the most that you got question wise from scouts? Was just kind of like your overall medical, like with your injury history?
Yeah, pretty much. They really just wanted to see me run, move, make sure I can bend. Nothing was like lingering or anything. So I would say that was probably my biggest question going into that week and just overall in general.
Gotcha. And I'm pretty sure you talked to at least a dozen different teams. So, I mean, obviously, a lot of people know who you are, in the draft community, and hopefully even more will know you after we, put out this video.
Yeah.
Just kind of getting back to verifying you and your health. I mean, you did, I think, a pretty decent job at your pro day. I mean, what do you think? I mean, you had your pro day a few weeks ago. Walk us through that pro day, maybe some highlights, some lowlights, anything that you want to share with regards to your pro day.
Yeah, overall, I think I killed my pro day. But I definitely to hit on the low lights first. I was definitely say like my shuttle and L drill, they were still fast, but to my liking, I didn't really like what I did. But it is what it is. Then to highlight the best things I did at the pro day, I showed my speed. Ran in the low 4.5s. The fastest clock they had me at was a 4.49, but overall it was a 4.5. So I'll definitely take that because I definitely had a rumor for me being a quicker than fast guy when I'm actually both in my opinion, and I definitely showed that at pro day, and then showed my explosiveness as well with the 37 vert, which is top 5 vert in this running back draft class, and me being the shortest one too. So I actually like that. um, then did a 9-10 broad, and then with the running back drills, which was like the important thing because that's football. Doing the cuts, showing how explosive I am at my cuts and the burst, and then not dropping any balls in front of the scouts. And obviously, I was the only running back there, so everything was rapid. So even I'm so tired, but you got to push through it. And I think the scouts really liked what they saw.
Yeah, I mean, there's actually a few guys out there at Virginia and their pro day that I really want to know a whole lot about. I mean, but obviously you were one of them because I want to make sure that you had that speed. Which um, again, like you said, I mean, being quicker than fast, I think is just fine. I mean, you figure you want to be able to have that short area quickness. I mean, you want to be able to get first downs first, and then go from there. I mean, having like a 4.5-ish 40, I think is fair. So I wouldn't, sweat that so much. And then also, you didn't mention this, but I mean, your bench was pretty good too. So 22
Oh
reps
yeah.
on that bench. So probably one of your better numbers, honestly. So Shane, let's get to talking about some football and just your overall career. I want you to kind of, I don't know, look through the eyes of a student of the game like you are, and talk me through perhaps you studying somebody all week in the film room, maybe how you break down that film room, stuff, and get us to that game and how it really played out. So give me an example for that.
All right. So you can go. We can do UNC's defense. Obviously, they were ranked number 12 in the country at the time when we played them, and we were kind of struggling, just trying to find our identity, injury bugs, and this, that, and the third. But it's a new week, and this is how I really dissect the defense when I'm watching film. Me being a running back right next to the quarterback, I try to be just as a student of game as him, since I'm like a second QB to like the lineman's eyes. Um, so I'll definitely start at the D line level first and just see if they're in the outer even front, where the shades at, and go from there. And then we pick out. Then I usually me and Brandon at the time pick out the mic. Um, Obviously ID the mic, and then see where the safeties are. So because the tilt always tells where a pressure is coming, or if the corner's inside, usually he's gonna, or if he's looking inside, he's coming. So just little tendencies like that. That's how I would break it down from each level. And then I would actually find who the key player is, like who's the leader of the defense. And going into that week, it was obviously Chaz Surratt, number 21. And so that was my main focus the whole week of practice. And I even brought it up in the meetings when we had meetings. That's their signal caller, that's their leader. They go through him, and we shut him down. We can have the field down on the offense, and then through the whole week we just game plan, game plan, game plan, and then obviously that Saturday we put it to work, and we won 44-41 in the shootout. Um, I was actually the leading rusher of that game and the leading receiver. So it was definitely a breakout game for myself. And then as an offense, like a real um, boost for us to like really get kick started from what we already knew what we had. And then one play out in particular that we said all week was going to work was the swing pass that I had for 72 yards against Chad Surratt. Well, I told Brendan, like when we broke the huddle, the corner was sitting inside, so I saw him coming. So I was like, 21 has me right now. Just get it out to me, and I'll beat him down the sideline. And then, but that's what happened. Brendan said, "Hike." I get out real quick, look back. He throws the ball. Chaz is a little late over the top, and boom, 72 yards later, we score. And then ultimately, we win the game.
Nice, man. I mean, a lot of great stuff there. I mean, you said it was a shootout. I mean, being like one of the better receivers as well as the best running back out there, really doing some great things. I mean, and I think like we said before, I mean that is what you're going to be bringing to the table, to any professional team. I mean, you're going to be a receiver out of the backfield. I mean, you're going to be a guy that can that can hand the ball to in so many different ways. So, great example there. I love that. Hey, Shane, I want you to take a moment, and I want you to maybe step back in time a little bit, give your younger self just a little bit of advice so you can prepare him for the next 4 or 5 years. Let's talk to young Shane in high school. What would you tell him?
Going back to Shane in high school, so around 17. I've always been pretty strong mentally, but I'll definitely say just don't rush greatness, don't rush anything. Just really just stay in the now and don't look so far into the future, because that's going to come when it comes. And God always has his plan. It's not always on your time, but in the end, you're going to get what you want as long as you put the work in. And I think that's probably the biggest thing I'll definitely tell my younger self, just like stay in the now and enjoy the now really, and let the future be the future when it comes.
Cool. Let's kind of step out of sports a little bit. I mean, I want to meet who you are like outside of football. Tell me just a little bit about yourself. I mean, anything that's unique, any hobbies, interests. Talk to us about who Shane is outside of football.
Yeah, Shane outside of football, you never really see me serious or like really mad unless I'm on the field. I'm like serious, obviously, but other than that, like I'm a real goofy guy. Like I love laughing. I just like love like being around people, just make people laugh. I'm definitely a high energy guy. Like I move around a lot, I dance a lot. So I'll definitely say like my hobby being like a dancer. I like to play games at times, and then this doesn't have to do with football. I actually love working out, so I'm like definitely a workout freak. But then I'd probably say working out, dancing, laughing a lot, and just enjoying time with like friends and family, really.
Cool. Hey, I'm gonna hit you with a question here. So, one of the best comedy movies in your opinion that you've ever seen. One of your favorite comedies that you've seen. So go for it. Give me at least one or two that are like your go-to.
Oh, that's a tough one. It's a little older. My dad actually put me on. See No Evil, Hear No Evil.
Oh my God, man! I can quote that movie from beginning.
Yeah, me too.
That is one crazy movie. I mean, you gotta love, Gene Wilder, Richard Pryor, man. Like their stuff their stuff is gold. I mean, everything that they've ever done. Yeah, just watch them. Like they've got a lot of good ones too. So, love those guys. You can't go wrong with Richard Pryor, man. Like, or even Gene Wilder for that matter. But love those guys for sure. Hey, as we begin to wrap up, I try and ask everybody the why question. So tell me why you play football and just your motivation.
My why is really my family, just because the way I grew up, they always tried to give everything that I needed to succeed, and didn't matter what cause it came with. They just wanted me to have everything that I needed to be successful. And me going into this my dream job, I know the money that comes with it. And obviously they don't want to be paid back or anything like that, but I just felt like with football is bigger than me. And for them to get me to that point, I can't repay them or thank them enough. So I think just getting there, making my money, being smart with my money first, and then ultimately just like making sure they're good, like I'm good and they're good, and at the same time, will be the biggest blessing in my life, really, just because all the sacrifices they made for me.
Right. And very last thing for you, Shane, is I want you to give your pitch to all 32 NFL teams out there, and maybe why they should take a chance on you and draft you and bring you in, and what kind of teammate would you be?
Yes, to the GMs and scouts, here's my message. You're getting a mature guy, two-time leader or two-time captain in college, so that speaks volumes of my character and how people view me. From a football aspect, you're gonna get a very versatile player that's willing to do everything from running back, obviously blocking, catching out the backfield. You can line me up in the slot. I definitely want to add value to special teams because that's part of my identity, with kick return and punt return, or even just playing gunner, just any way I can be on the field. And then on the offensive side, I don't always need the ball. Like we can scheme around everything, so we can make mismatches all around the offense. And ultimately, I'm just trying to win. I'm just trying to bring a championship to the organization.
Gotcha. I mean, again, like we've already mentioned, I mean, one of the great things that you bring to the table is versatility. And I don't mean that in such a way that to thin you out and to just say, hey, this we can only use him here, there, and whatever. But I mean, we can use you in a lot of different ways. You could be anywhere between the lead rusher, the lead receiver, the go-to guy in a lot of schemes. I mean, hey, in West Coast offenses, I mean, you need to be able to get that ball, out as quick as you can, and typically a lot of times that goes to the running back. I think it's great. I mean, I think you have a lot of scouts that are really keeping an eye on you. I mean, you're going to be one of those guys that you might end up getting drafted, on that day 3. So, I mean, definitely keep your phone handy because, I mean, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, you could get that call for real. So, Shane, I do wish you best of luck moving forward, man. I mean, I know you got a lot going on, a whole lot more interviews to do too. So, I mean, pray that you continue to stay healthy. And I know you're going to get an opportunity with one team, at the very least being in a camp with somebody, in order for you to hopefully make that 53-man roster. So, again, this is Shane Simpson. He's a running back out of Virginia, formerly out of Towson. Definitely got to check him out.